to get shot in the ass.
Don't need anything today.
Later on, then.
Hello, stranger. Welcome to the Centerfield Greenhouse. I'm Dr. McClintock, botanist and owner. Can I help you with anything?
Don't need anything today.
If you come across any irradiated ghouls or their zoologic counterparts, I'll pay handsomely for their blood.
Hey there.
Welcome back to the Centerfield Greenhouse. Can I help you with something?
Can I ask some questions?
Of course. Here. I have a lab, a clean bed, a shower, and a suitor who cooks for me. Not many people can say that. I'm lucky. But something tells me you had something more specific in mind?
What's the security like around here?
I'll have to admit, they're not great at conversation, but the sheriff's department has kept us very safe since their inception. The sheriff is an outcast. She was raised by and to be one of the Brotherhood of Steel in the Capital Wasteland. Her unit abandoned them some time ago. I'm told she worked as a caravan guard after her unit was killed in the wastes. Time and circumstance brought her to us during an ambush on the city. She took the city's best guards and molded them into a remarkably effective urban combat team. They established a perimeter outside the wall and became known as the Fence Sheriff's Department, fueled primarily by whiskey and cigars. I sleep very well knowing her snipers dot the rooftops around Diamond.
What's the word around town?
Well, that's a bit complicated, but Piper would be the one to talk to. She's got her finger on the pulse of the city, so to speak. People are very worried about the Institute right now, and rightly so. It's very real, and so are the kidnappings. I've seen replicates myself. Mayor McDonough doesn't seem particularly interested in stopping the Institute either, which just adds to the paranoia he's one of them.
Heard any rumors about how folks are feeling around here?
I'm not sure if McDonough's a synth, but if he's not, then he's either the dumbest stable genius around or working directly for the Institute.
That's all for now, thanks. That's all for now, thanks. Don't need anything today.
Let me know if you scab any large chemical batches out there. I might buy them.
Hi.
Welcome back. Wait, you're not here because you're coughing up glowing mucus from inhaling my spores, are you?
What rumors have you heard?
An odd man came into the diner the other week. He claimed some invisible barrier was keeping him from leaving the Boston area. How strange. He said he would see the words, "You cannot go that way," before his eyes, and then could go no further. I assumed he was on day tripper.
Heard any good rumors?
I found the bees from cryopreserved stocks in Vault 81. It took a lot of convincing McNamara to let me take them, but she finally relented. There was a big risk that I wouldn't be able to maintain the colony having no experience. But it's been some years now, and I froze new swarms. McNamara and Penske were pleased with the return on their investment. Now I'm trying to coax them to swarm back into the wild next time.
Hey there.
Hello again. Did you need anything?
Can I ask you some questions?
What did you want to know?
What is this place?
A greenhouse, a lab, a farm, a place to relax. It's a lot of things. You're gonna have to be more specific.
So, is this your life's work?
Every bit of it. I've got so much going on, I don't know where to start. And I never shut up about it, so ask at your own peril.
What are you trying to do?
My first projects under Dr. Penske were to introduce bioluminescent substrate and enzyme marker genes from Vault Freezer luciferase plasmids. I cultivated them right outside the entrance to Vault 81, because space in our vault is at a premium, so using it to grow food is more important. Use the new genes in their own growth cycles as some sort of quorum activation signal. With sharp eyes, you could see their dim light pulse in sync with separate vines around them and release luminescent pollen together.
How did you know that?
The few samples I grew inside the vault didn't experience the same changes. They acted as I expected, stubborn to change. I hypothesized it was the ionizing background radiation outside the vault that accelerated their evolution. Later, I was to find some of those same vines outside the vault growing and feeding on mole rat carcasses, which made them grow even faster. Their tendrils would intertwine with each other and pass on the nutrition, like feeding a colony. It was amazing to watch. About that time, I had to leave Vault 81 to continue working with them. They simply grew too fast. It became more work to cut them back every week from outside the vault or Dr. Penske's greenhouse. Unfortunately, I could never reproduce what occurred in the fern flower, the wholesale assimilation of forest fungal blight I happened to be cultivating. That was my breakthrough.
How did you discover that?
I saw flower buds of different colors and species growing from the same vines. Here it was. The vine had adopted entire organ systems. Honestly, the blight discovery was serendipity. I got lucky. But chance favors the prepared mind, no? I hypothesized something in the blight is allowing for multiple nuclei to exist harmoniously in the same body, together but remaining apart. Part of a fungal life cycle involves such a phenomenon. Nuclei from separate organisms grow in the same fruiting body, even in the same cells. Yet, until the moment of recombination, they remain genetically separate in this same body. It's a strange system indeed. I'm currently testing various purified fractions of blight extract for the ability to catalyze the same sorts of events in my experiments. If I can isolate and purify the
Amazing. You'll have to explain what's going on.
Oh, of course. I don't get to teach biology lessons very often. Dr. Penske always said, the best way to learn is to teach.
Biology lesson?
Yes, a biology lesson. I'm so glad you asked for one. Plants don't react to chromosomal aberrations the same way animals do. They're quite tolerant of them and can react in surprising ways. Take the fern flower, for instance. Before the war, a flowering fern didn't exist. A fern isn't an angiosperm. It evolved long before flowers. This massive level of genetic change in only 200 years required the radiation from the war to catalyze it. Furthermore, this genetic change cannot be achieved simply by a Hox gene activation, like restoring ancient genes for teeth in chickens. The fern evolved before flowers. There was no genetic information of the flowering life cycle in its genome to reactivate in the first place. Where did the genetic information? How did the fern then come to possess its flower? That's one of the questions I'm trying to answer.
How would something like that even work?
Given the high levels of ambient ionizing radiation in the world these days, I cannot rule out an entirely new mechanism for genetic recombination. I'm testing my new theory that perhaps there's yet another life cycle involved, that of a fungus. Fungal reproduction is very odd indeed. During sexual reproduction, the nuclei of two organisms share cells, nutrients, and grow in the same body. But they remain distinctly genetically separate until sporulation. They share the same body, but are two different genomes. I'm also trying to reproduce these sorts of gross changes in morphology, physiology, and life cycle in this greenhouse, with some success. I believe I'm harnessing that mechanism on my bioluminescent vines. As you can see, the same vines clearly display more than one species and color of flower. Single vine. Food security for the Commonwealth is my real motivation.
Nice. That sounds pretty high-tech. What do you grow here?
Mostly plants for my research, but also cotton for the city. My ultimate goal is to develop a plant which can grow many types of food on one vine. If the flowers are to be believed, it's definitely possible. These plants are amazingly resilient and accommodating to new genetic information. They grow rapidly and adapt their transport mechanism to distribute nutrients in an optimal manner. Look at the supplemental nutrients drawn in and spread from the left corner, upstairs and across, and then down to the plants in the right corner.
It's pretty amazing, no doubt about it.
It is, isn't it? They grow outwards, and the other vines were attracted to the nutrients. Before, the glow was hardly noticeable. But I watched as the vines cooperated and spread the nutrients to every corner of the greenhouse, from that one corner all the way over to the other one. The next flowers to germinate possessed the bioluminescent properties from the vines. It was so beautiful, I had to bring Professor Scara to show her.
You've got technology here that I never dreamed possible. It's amazing. I wanted to ask you about something else. It would be nice to know more about you.
Not much to tell. I'm from Vault 81, I love my work, and I use the emergency shower to stay clean. But what would you like to know?
You seem awfully proud of this lab.
I am very proud of this lab. My career in this greenhouse are a result of the time and sacrifice of many people. Both Diamond City and the Vault have been very generous in helping me with my research. I really like it here, and I have long-term plans to stay. It's the least I can do to repay the kindness of the citizens.
What type of doctor are you?
Fancy people would say molecular botanist, but in plain words, I specialize in plant DNA molecular level. As one of the few vaults not screwed over by Vault Tech, we had ample seed stocks and databases to study in anticipation of Reclamation Day. All the courses and materials were there to earn my PhD in the Vault, including 2 doctors. With Scara and Duff, I had my PhD committee. My research defense mostly confused the Vault, but my committee understood it enough and recognized its value, so they granted my doctorate.
How did you end up here?
That's a long story. I'm a Vault 81 refugee, although I wasn't exactly fleeing anything. I was Dr. Penske's apprentice for many years. She's a formidable woman and taught me everything I know about botany and molecular biology. She respected my wishes to work on my own experiments and gave me as much space as she could in her greenhouse. But my vines grow too quickly, and it would only take a few weeks for a fully cut vine to cover a wall and grow right out of the room. As pretty as it was, the situation was untenable. I had to leave the Vault to continue my work. Luckily, Dr. Penske and abilities I don't have. The Vault still has things like an autoclave, protein synthesizer, plasticware fabrication, seed stocks, and media ingredients you'd never find here.
That's all for now, thanks. What's the story with this place?
I helped build it, so I suppose...
The water?
Ugh. Shane Kowalski's water is contaminated, even though he denies it. I had to purify my own water for the plants. I even used the shower by the door. Scara helped me design the large-scale electrolytic purifiers you see outside. We got most of the materials from Vault 81 junk piles. Luckily, most of the pipework from the original stadium survived, so water is easy to transport from the pond in the stadium. Abbott, the Bobrovs, and Mr. Dr. Pepper did the heavy lifting. Much of the town has been very friendly to me, and I'm very grateful.
You own this place?
Inasmuch as any settler owns an in this abandoned world, then yes. I own this greenhouse, Mr. Dr. Pepper owns his diner, and the Bobrov brothers own the Dugout Inn. The city, citizens, and security recognize my claim. That makes it as official as it gets around here. It's better than a 200-year-old empty husk with a collapsed second floor, which is how I found the place.
Who built this place, originally? Has it been here long?
That's a good question. The first time I circled Diamond City looking up, it was obvious where to put the greenhouse with all these windows. But when Abbott opened the door to this room for me, the floor was collapsed to the ground. Nobody had been in here for over 200 years. Mr. Dr. Pepper and his friends worked for 2 weeks to fill in the pit with soil from below the stadium foundation and then level the floor for me. It was expensive, but Cricket located more intact glass to fill in all the broken windows and some old metal stairs for the loft already up there. I honestly can never repay the citizens of this city for all the kindness that they've shown this vault. Or Dr. Penske, I said this, but I like it here much more than the vault. There's so much more space and freedom. I've got my own lab, new friends, a suitor, I see new people every day, and I don't have to ration my shower water when I stand under a spout. I could see myself calling this place home for a good long while.
I wanted to ask you about something else. That's all for now, thanks.
That's a shame.
I wanted to ask you about something else. Tell me about the Minutemen.
I like the idea of the Minutemen. From what I'm told, they were once a force to be reckoned with, and allied closely to Diamond City. Times are different now. They seem to be the punchline of a joke about what happens when you stick your neck out for the Commonwealth. I heard they were effectively wiped out in Quincy by the Gunners not long ago. A sad end, really. The good side does not always...
Who were the Brotherhood of Steel?
I've never met one. From what I'm told of their hierarchy in society, they must have a high coefficient of inbreeding. From what I know, They're little better than very successful gunners who sleep with their cousins and won't kill you if you give them what they want. The sheriff used to be one of them, but she went AWOL with her squad for reasons that aren't mine to discuss. She knows Latin, advanced military strategy, and has her finger on the pulse of her troops, making her a formidable commander. Brotherhood education has to be top-notch, if nothing else. But the tribalism they exhibit is antithetical to their stated purpose of saving humanity.
What can you tell me about the Institute?
They make no sense, and that frightens me. What are they trying to do by replacing us? Surely they can march over this city with a robot army, but they just replace us with sterile copies that can snap at any second. Any of us at all. I can't extrapolate any sort of logic from synth replacements. Nobody benefits, opinion is only solidified against them, and no agenda is advanced. That's what truly scares me about the Institute. Stunning technology aside, I can't figure out their fundamental motivation. Both the sheriff and I spend long hours Apologies. You'll forgive me, but I shouldn't be talking about such things with outsiders, of course.
I wanted to ask you about something else. That's all for now, thanks. Let's get down to business.
I'm sorry, the greenhouse isn't open for business right now. I had to